Yo, what's going on YouTube? This is your boy Kamen Rider Zero Spike back again once again. And today people said that we're here for Kamen Rider GAVV episode 3, and in this episode we get an introduction to a new Gochizo and a new little adventure for our main character to go on, and for our main character Shoma to go on. And also he learns more about snacks and the reason why he passes out so much, because you eating too many snacks technically, and you're supposed to eat like regular food, and but you're still supposed to eat snacks, but you're still supposed to eat like regular food. So in this episode we see that more people are starting to know about him. It's going more on the news that he's fighting or killing these other monsters, fighting and killing these other monsters and things like that. And some people are actually starting to think that if he's killing the monsters, he might just be he might be human himself. But we all know Shoma's we don't know right now, but the theory is that he's half human, I guess. But yeah, so our main villain, our monster of the week in this episode is a girl, but it's a Granute that's pretending to be a girl, and she is basically kidnapping people and getting tasty treats, making these dark treats. And basically, if the happier the person is, the more tastier the dark treats are. And she ends up delivering 4 of them to the twins, and the twins end up giving her 5 of the big cube dark treats that look freaking disgusting. I'll try it though, but if they actually had them, I would possibly try them. But she makes she ends up doing that, and she's like, oh, I can't get enough of these things. It seems like the monsters, the regular Granutes, so the monster of the week, or basically the employees of Stomach Inc. is when they're out going out and kidnapping, harvesting people. It seems like they eat these dark treats too, and these are their version of snacks. These are their versions of their own type of snacks. And yeah, and I also found out that the happier people are, the happier the person is that you're trying to harvest, the tastier the dark treat will be. And we see that she's getting people, and it seems like a lot of people are dying from this. People are dying from being turned into these treats and stuff like that. It's kind of dark too. It's kind of dark. It is dark. So we see that Hunto is more prevalent in this episode as well. We see that he's starting to really investigate Shoma and trying to find out where Shoma is, and trying to follow him, and actually learning more about how he's out here destroying the monsters and stuff. And he's starting to think that, oh, he must be human, and I have to find out. So Shoma ends up meeting this dude after he passed out from hunger, and he's talking to this guy, and you see that the guy's at this food truck, and the food truck is the monster of the week. Basically, it's oh, I'm giving people regular food and making them happy, and the happier they are, then the more people I can get. So that's basically what she's doing. So Shoma's talking with this guy, and he's telling the dude he's talking to Shoma meets him, and he's all you eat is snacks. Because Shoma shows him his little book that he has all the snacks that he wants to try in, and he's all you eat is snacks. You're not supposed to just eat nothing but snacks. Snacks are just meant for when you're when you're just chilling out, or when you're peckish, or you're feeling down about something and stuff like that. That's the only time you're supposed to eat snacks. You can't just keep eating them. That's why you fell over. So he ends up giving Shoma some regular food. Shoma eats the regular food, and he basically was trying to get Shoma to owe him. He was trying to get Shoma to owe him something. So after that, we see that Shoma ends up going to help some construction workers pick up this big metal block, and then the dude gets the idea to be hey, can you help me with something? And Shoma's cool, I can help repay you for buying my food. Cool. So basically he wanted Shoma to help him technically rob somebody, because we'll find out why he's trying to rob people, but he wanted Shoma to help him rob people because he saw how strong Shoma was. So they end up dressing up like these workers that were basically coming to someone's apartment to inspect their water pipes. Turns out no one was home, so he asks Shoma to like, hey, can you just like open the door so we can get in there? And he makes Shoma think that the person probably passed out or something like that. So while Shoma looking for this person that's not there, he goes in, he starts running through the house and looking for money and stuff like that. He finds some money, and then Shoma stops him and he's like, wait, you're just robbing people? And then he makes a big mess of the house, and the Gochizo, they end up cleaning up the mess and stuff. He's like, why are you trying to rob people? They're like sitting on the bench. He's like, why are you trying to rob people? Because I want to repay, I want to repay my old man. And he's like, he's not my dad, but he took me off the streets and stuff like that. And he's been having a hard time, keeping his company up and stuff like that. I just wanted to repay him and stuff. And then like, so Shoma's like, but you wanted me to help you rob people to help him? And like he's like, I'm not gonna help you rob people. I'm not gonna help you rob people and take money from people and things like that. Like, I'm not helping you do that. So he gets pissed off and he ends up leaving Shoma. And we see that Shoma basically sends off one of his main Gochizo. He sends it off to go basically like follow him or go get him. And when dudes, when he's walking off, he sees the food truck, the same food truck from earlier, and he ends up going into the food truck and trying to rob it. And that's when we see he ends up getting captured by the monster girl, get captured by her. And then that's when like little Gochizo, he sees this and he's running back to Shoma to tell him. And we see that Shoma has pulls out his gummy. He has one gummy left. And it's the soda gummy. He eats the soda gummy and ends up creating a whole new Gochizo, which will play a part later, showing off like a new form or like a new attachment technically, because it's technically not a form. So yeah, but also we saw that Hanto is getting more details and stuff, getting more details, getting more stuff, talking about Shoma in his Kamen Rider form. People started calling him the Kamen Rider. He ends up going to see our other two girls from the last episode, and talking to them, and he talks to the girl that he saved in the last episode, and she was like, oh, maybe he saved you, maybe he did this, and she tells him the whole story. And then Hanto's like, it seems like he's trying not to he doesn't want to believe that the Kamen Rider is a good guy, because he's a monster and he kind of has like a bias towards monsters, because a monster technically killed his mom, so he wants to think that all monsters are bad. But he's starting to think like, oh, since he's killing all of them, maybe he's human. Like he sounds like he's getting real conflicted and things like that. So he's on the prowl looking for him and stuff like that. And that's when we get our fight with Shoma and the monster. Shoma goes off to go fight the monster, because his Gochizo told him that he got captured. So he goes off to fight him, and he's like, he basically is like, who are you? I'm protecting. He's like, who are you? Like, I heard that some of my part-timers were going missing. He said, I bet you're the reason for that. He's like, yeah, I am. I'm protecting humans from you. So he's fighting him, and he's like a big spiked kind of ball kind of monster, and he's kind of hard to like. He's tough. He's hard to punch and things like that. Shoma's fighting him, and he can't really do anything to him, so he transforms it into the potato chip form, and he's starting to have some kind of effect on him, since it's like, since he's able to like actually damage him now. But it's still not kind of working. The dude still kind of overpowering him, and while they're fighting, that's when Hanto shows up and sees what's going on and sees this fight. So while they're fighting, we see that Shoma takes cover, and he ends up using the new soda Gochizo, and this Gochizo basically just gives him like a really big fist. Like, it just makes his right arm into a really big blue soda fist. And now he's able to actually hurt him for real now. He uses this new power and ends up destroying this monster, and ends up freeing the dude that he met earlier. And dude sees him, he's like, oh, it's a monster, whatever. And then Shoma basically tells him like, hey, stop doing bad stuff, you hear me? And yeah, he leaves, and we get a scene later on with the same guy at the company with the old man that he wants to repay and stuff. And he sees that the company went down, and he tells him stuff like, he's like, I'm sorry I couldn't pay you back. And he's like, hey, I didn't. He's like, idiot. I didn't take you off the streets just so you could repay me later. Don't worry about it, man. So, but yeah, so all is good with those. But yeah, so we see that Shoma's leaving and Hanto ends up finding him, and Hanto's like, hey. He's like, oh, he's like, what is up? What's going on? He's like, are you human? And after he defeats him, we see this dude. You know, he dressed kind of fancy, and he picks up two of the Kochizos, and it's a red one and a white one. And I'm like, when did Shoma get those? It seems like those. It seems like that's leading to. It's probably leading to Hanto getting his new form. I don't know for sure, because the way the color palettes that those two Kochizo were the same color palette as like Hanto when he gets his rider form later. So that might play a part in that. That might be foreshadowing that, or maybe foreshadowing something else. I don't know for sure. But he sees that. He talks to him. He's like, before he gets to say anything, the other dude, the guy who took the Kochizo, he walks up behind him and he's like, are you a Granute? Are you a Granute as well? And then like Hanto's like, wait, who are you? And then like Shoma's like, wait, I'm gonna get unmasked. And he has to run away. And he talks to the guy. He's like, hey, you messed it up for me. And he's like, who are you anyway? I research Granutes. And he's like, what's a Granute? And then that scene ends up right there. So now we get to see what the twins were doing, because they basically sent one of their agents out to basically spy on Shoma, and they basically get footage of him, and it's like, I knew it, it's a red GAVV. And they basically like, what does that mean though? Because it has to be some type of royalty. Shoma has to be some type of royalty or something like that for these people to be so enamored with the fact that his GAVV is red. But yeah, so episode ends off right there, because they were talking about him earlier, saying that there's a monster, there's somebody destroying all our base part-timers and stuff, and they're basically like, oh, is he human? And they're like, nah, no way. And they do the classic twin thing where they say the same thing at the same time and finish each other's sentences type stuff. But yeah, so this episode was good. This episode was great. It wasn't as impactful as episode 1 and 2 were, but you know, it was still pretty good, and it was still like building upon the world and building upon the story and stuff like that, and like introducing new forms and introduce some new characters and expanded upon some more characters. So yeah, it's more like a little cool down episode. Still action packed, still really good, but more like more of a cool down type of episode. The form for this episode it was cool. I mean, big fist, cool like that, but it wasn't really a form. It was just a big fist. The fist work. It's more like an attachment. I would say it's more like a weapon than an actual full-on form, because he still looks normal, just a big old blue fist. But other than that, you guys let me know down in the comment section below what you guys think about this episode of Kamen Rider GAVV. Make sure to like, share, subscribe, hit that notification bell. Remember, as I always say, stay henshin.